better make laugh about it are the people you're trying to get the bid out of. If you can make them laugh,
What did he say?
then you
Might
might
not
be
be
successful.
wearing the
If you insult one, even
See,
jokingly,
wearing
tongue in
pants and
cheek,
Oh, see.
no. I was at an NAA fun auction one time, and I had a glass of water in my hand.
But you give it.
Now, there was an open bar going.
So,
And I was bidding on something, and I stopped, and the auctioneer said, take one more sip of that drink. Maybe you like to bid again, is what he was implying. And I was offended by that. So you're accusing me of being drunk? It wasn't funny, okay? And so I just really strongly urge you, stay away from those kind of remarks, okay? They're not good. They're not good. Okay, we've gone in that long enough. Microphone, very important. Ethics, here's the ethics things I told you about. They give us their stuff. We hold the money. People have to trust you. Then, ethics, we can do 3 days ethics course, or we can do 3 minutes. And I choose the 3-minute one. People don't trust you, they're not going to do business with you. You cut your own throat. Start doing things illegal, under the table. People have to trust you. Very important. How we deal with the crowd sometimes is very important. One of the best things you can do, especially somebody who's obvious in their bidding, they try to raise their own bid. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You've got them at 25. Let's say it's 25,000. You're asking for 26,000, and they raise their hand again. And if you take them again, most everybody is going to see that deal, and they're going to realize they cannot trust you. But when you say, no, you're already in, don't worry, I'll come back and ask for more if somebody else bids. And then you can joke and say, I'll only do that 3 times, then you're on your own. and because they will have learned their lesson after the first one. Okay. Then, what does everybody think? Well, we can trust this guy. He's not going to let us bid against ourselves. Put your hand in the air. But the first time they see you take somebody's bid twice, they'll know scared to death to bid. So it's very important how we handle the buyers as well as the sellers. Everybody needs to be treated with respect. Okay, let's move along here. How are we going to get experience? We've gone to auction school. We're going to our state meetings, conventions, etc. We're trying to glad hand, get to know people, etc. Well, that's a great place to get a job, is at the Auctioneers Convention. If you want to get a job as a bid caller, enter the bid calling contest. Okay, that's the way to show off your skills. We want to work for others. Work for another auction company. Sometimes what we learn when we're working for someone else is maybe not what we don't want to do. Oh, they made a bad mistake. They did this. It was terrible. Did you learn anything? Oh, God, yeah. Okay. That's a good thing. You learn something. What not to do, maybe. Preferably, hopefully, when you work for another auction company, the things you learn are all things that you want to do, and they're the good things. But on occasion, if you learn something not to do, that's okay too. If you're not working for somebody else, watch auctions. Watch and listen to auctioneers. Listening to auctioneers call bids, you'll find ones that you like. Mike and Lori will play recordings, videos of some of the auction contests during the breaks in the class. If they haven't done that yet, you ought to ask them to do that. That's really cool. And what you'll find is you'll listen to auctioneers and you go, oh, I really like that. She's really good. He's really good. And those are the ones you want to listen to driving down the road. Don't spend a lot of time listening to the ones you don't like. because that stuff will rub off on you. It really will. And when we go to these other auctions to view them, what are we looking for? We're looking for everything. We want to make notes on what? Everything. We want to run our own auction company. Oh, then there's all kinds of stuff we're going to look for. When we register, we're going to ask them what kind of software they're using, assuming you see computers. And they'll say, oh, use ABC software, or whatever it is. Do you like that? And they go, yeah, I know, or blah, blah, blah. It's too expensive. It doesn't do this, something. You learn something, okay? You learn things like where are they going to start the auction? What are they going to sell first? What are they going to sell last? Where are they going to get their money? Where are the high dollar items? Where are the cheap items? I watched an auctioneer one time, knowledgeable auctioneer. Actually, it was the same auctioneer that did that estate sale that I didn't get. And they had an estate sale a few blocks from my parents' house. I had gone home for a visit and heard about it, and I drove down there and just be fun to watch a little bit. And they started the auction. They had lots of nice things. They had a tent and front yard full of really nice stuff. Lot number one, as God is my witness, is a crocheted weenie dog aerosol can cover.
Nice.
What?
That sounds cool.
That's what most everybody in the crowd's reaction was. What? And they're asking you 20, 15, 10, 5. You weren't going to go under 5. And consequently, they didn't get a bid at all. And so they passed it. Is that a good way to start an auction?
No.
It's a horrible way to start an auction. You want to start an auction with something you know is going to go straight to the value. Everybody's going to see it went straight to the value. And you put this into their mind, we're going to have to pay what this stuff is worth. When you start it with, you can't even get a bid, then the sharks smell blood, and then it's hard to get a bid. Okay? And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Certainly don't want to do stuff like that, okay? Did I learn something? Yes, I did. I did learn something. And that needed to be in a box lot at the end of the auction. You know, a lot of people used to sell, and still do, sell farm equipment auctions, and they start by selling tools, you know, $5 and $10 items. And we've got $40,000 and $50,000 pieces of equipment sitting out in this field that we need to sell, and we're selling $5 rakes. I promise you, the people who came to buy the $40,000 and $50,000 piece of equipment have got many things better to do than to watch you sell $5 rakes. That's stupid. The $5 rakes will still bring $5 at the end of the auction. So, do these things matter? Yes, they matter. We see those type of things. We watch other auctions. Let's watch somebody else make a mistake. Let's learn from it. Let's watch somebody else have a great success, and let's learn from that as well. Okay, so we go to the auction, we make notes, we listen to the auctioneer, we hear a filler word. We go, oh, I like that filler word. Maybe we try that. Stick that in our bid column. Maybe we try that sometime. We watch how they park the cars. I mean, you learn all kinds of stuff. Are those things important? We had an auction years ago. We've done a lot of movie auctions over the years. And we did the Alamo auction, the more recent Alamo auction, not the John Wayne Alamo auction, a few years back. And we registered over 900 bidders live. And we were not anywhere prepared for that many people. I think I printed 350 catalogs, and I thought I'd have extras. No. And there's hundreds of people that didn't even register because they weren't going to stand in the line. Okay? 10 minutes before the auction, what should the auctioneer be doing? They should be looking at their notes. They've gone to the bathroom. Last thing you do before you go to stage, go to the bathroom. Have a sip of water, look at your notes, look at your opening statement, your terms and conditions, chilling out, getting, ready to go. No, you know where I was? I was out there parking cars.
Uh-oh.
All of our staff was out parking cars. Hundreds of cars everywhere. People just pouring in. It was crazy. We were on the set of the Alamo, which is also what attracted a lot of people. Weren't prepared. Wasn't prepared for that. Take advantage of your first good auction. What does that mean? Well, record everything. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, a good example is you're selling out a business, and the business is junky and disorganized, and you're going to have to organize it. Get a before picture, because then when you get an after picture, that's very nice to have in your portfolio. Here's what here's what we dealt with when we walked in the door. Here's what it looked like the day the auction closed, or on live auction day. At the auction, if it's a live auction, we want somebody taking photographs. And what you're going to say is what I used to always say. Oh, we'll get one of our staff. Pull out your phone and take some pictures. Well, who? The people in the office? I tell you what, when we did the Alamo auction, that was my intention. Get somebody from the office, come out here and shoot some pictures. My wife worked for me for a short period of time. She happened to be working for me at that time. She might have become violent if I'd have suggested she come out of there and take pictures. There was no, they didn't hardly had a potty break all day. I mean, it was hand-to-hand combat in the office with hundreds of people trying to register throughout the entire auction. My ringmen, I mean, we're rocking. They don't have time to do anything. Now that particular auction was really before there was any decent phone cameras, because it would be a little bit easier now. But the point is, if everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing on your staff, they probably don't have time to take real good photographs. Okay, hire somebody. They don't have to stay long. If the auction's going on, 15 minutes maybe, and then tell them what you want pictures of. This is important. I hired a small town. We were doing this farm sale. I called the local newspaper, back when there were newspapers in small towns. I called the local newspaper and I said, could I get a phone number for one of your photographers? They said, sure. Call Susie Q, whoever it was. And I called them and I said, can you come down to the auction on Saturday and shoot some pictures? Won't take you 30 minutes. I'll pay you $50, whatever I said. And they said, sure. And I said, we want, pictures. And I didn't go into detail about what the pictures were that I wanted. I wanted pictures like from the back of the crowd. If you're the crowd and I'm the auctioneer, shooting this way with hands in the air,
Mm-hmm.
I want a picture from behind the auctioneer shooting out towards the crowd, hopefully with hands in the air. I want a picture, the auctioneer. I want a picture of the ringman. That's what and then I want pictures of some of the highlighted stuff we're selling, the really good stuff.
Right.
What I got was pictures of like a spoked wheel with a blue bonnet growing up inside it. And I got all these artsy shots. And I was like, I'm just looking at these pictures. I'm going, I don't even know that this is an auction going on. It was really bad. So when you tell anybody to take pictures, tell them specifically what you're looking for. Okay? Learn from my disadvantages. You're going to put all this stuff, this first good auction, we're going to take all this information when the auction's over and your seller's walking up, the grin on their face. That's when the photographer or somebody else on your staff is standing there with so get your camera ready, and you're going to walk over there and you're going to shake hands, and everybody's smiling. You're saying, oh, look over at that camera. Yeah, here we are. Happy seller, okay? Happy buyers. Buyers smiling, laughing, raising their card, things like that. That's the kind of stuff we want. Because we're going to put this in our portfolio. Now, it can be a hard shell type portfolio if you want to do that. Or you can put it into a PowerPoint, like a slide show that you can have on your phone. You can email to people. It's real easy. And you can show things that way. But when somebody says, so, do you have any experience? Well, yeah, let me send you some pictures from let me tell you about our last auction. And we're going to show them all this stuff, okay? And you're going to build on that. And you're going to take some of the things that you thought were great originally, and you're going to get better stuff that looks better, and you're going to replace it, and you're going to build on that, okay? But we're going to take advantage of that first good auction.
Just a question.
Yeah.
I know, like in real estate, we do our listing agreements, we have royalty license, and I mean, all that goes on. Do you put that in your terms and conditions? Like if you're taking pictures and putting people on there?
Yes, you need to put something on there, and preferably that would be terms that you get people to sign. You know, I mean, I've always been a big believer that if you're going to have terms and conditions, they don't apply unless you can prove people have read them or were given notice of them. And so I would always make people sign them. But yes, that's a good thing. We're going to be shooting photography today. You know, we may be using it for promotional purposes in the future, yada, yada, yada. And if you don't want your picture taken, you might want to step back to the back of the room or something. Yes.
Would it be possible to kind of, I don't know, fast paces, but when they're checking in, giving their credit card information to give the terms and conditions right then and there?
Well, that's exactly what you need.
Okay, so
Yeah.
instead of having to do it,
Yeah.
you get up on.
Oh, yeah, no, well, yeah, my personal opinion is you need to give them a catalog or something, some kind of paperwork with the terms and conditions on there, and you need to get something signed saying that they've read them. Now, what'll happen is they can't read them right then that fast because they want to get registered, they want to give whatever, so they're going to sign them. You need to give them a copy and say, now that you signed that saying you read these, make sure you read these, okay? Because all auctions are not the same. A lot of people out there, especially in the online world, think it's all the same. I've been, you know, I've been going to this one auction company's auctions for 5 years. And then they come to our auction, well, they just assume that our terms are the same as their terms. Okay? And
What's the buyer's premium?
probably not, yeah. So all those things you need to make sure, yeah, absolutely. You need to let them know that and get those terms signed. How are we going to find work? Well, here's a neat concept. You come to the auction school, you pay to come to the auction school and learn, okay? You go out there, you go to work for another auction company, part-time, whatever, then they pay you and you get to learn. It's kind of a neat concept. I strongly recommend that if you don't have, you know, if you're not in the business already, you haven't access to being in the business, or have a mentor, etc., certainly need to work with some other people and get some experience. Relationships with other auctioneers, opportunities, work, business relationships, that you can work for them, work with them, they can call you, you can call them to help you, etc. Professionals you need to know. Bankers, you know any bankers? They need to be the first people. When you get back and you get your business card made or you get your website set up, they're the first people that you let know you're an auctioneer. Okay? Attorneys, accountants, especially that represent big companies. A lot of times they're the first ones that realize we don't have any cash, we got a lot of surplus assets. So I strongly recommend you take every advantage to meet attorneys, represent a lot of people that need auctioneers. And you know, when somebody refers you and they're a professional, it's very important for you to make them look good. Okay? Because guess what? You make them look good, they will call you every time. Think about that. Think about any of those professionals you might know. Groups with which to be associated. Probably everybody here is in some way connected with a civic organization religious organization that needs to raise money. And if they're not doing an auction, maybe they should consider. Now, the caveat on that is when you go up to the preacher or the president of your Rotary Club or whatever it is, and you say, you know, we ought to have an auction to raise money. They may say, great, you're in charge. That's what you're not trying to accomplish that, I don't think. What you're trying to do is get the gig as the auctioneer. When I got out of auction school, I did a lot of church cake sales and things like that, just to get experience. But I'll tell you, I did, I was a senior in college, okay? And we were at my dad had a Texas distributorship for a PVC rail fence company called Country Estate Fence, and that was like the first ones that had that. And we had a booth set up, and he asked me to come work it. It was on a weekend, and it was at the Azalea Classic Arabian Horse Show at the Astro Hall, which doesn't exist anymore. The original doesn't, in Houston. And I was working the booth. Somebody walked by and said, hey, we're going to have an auction tonight, raise money for Ronald McDonald House. You have anything you want to donate? And I said, well, who's your auctioneer? And they said, well, we don't have a real auctioneer. And I said, okay, I'll donate me. I'm a real auctioneer. And they said, oh, that'd be great. So I got up on top of a bar and auctioned off a bunch of stuff. And it was kind of haphazard, you know, crazy, loud, people drinking. But it was fairly successful, I guess, because they said, well, this was like in October, and they said, well, in February or March, whatever, we're going to have another show. And they called me with this information a few weeks after this first one and said, hey, we're going to have another show in February, and we're going to try to dress the auction up a little bit more. We'll have a couple of horses, we'll have some good tack, this and that. And he said, and also Harry Cooper, who at that time was the leading Arabian horse show announcer. He said, Harry Cooper, and he also announced auctions sometimes, said he would announce for you if you'd like to have him do that. And I said, oh yeah, I'd like to have Harry, because I just, once again, want to make that relationship with him. And so we did that auction. And it was a bigger deal. People really seated, and it was a little bit more structured, and it was very successful. And about a week later, I'm back at school, and my phone rings. And it's my sister. My sister at that time, she and her husband had Arabian horses that they raised, and so people knew them. And she called me and she said, Scott, this is Laurie. The guy just called here. He's getting ready to have a big production sale. He wanted your contact information to call you about being the auctioneer, so you need to think about what you're going to say to him. I better go. Bye. And I'm like, who is this? And I said, I hang the phone up, and I'm like, really? And the phone rings. I'm like, holy smokes. I pick it up. And this guy, he's in Louisiana, he's got a big Arabian ranch, and he's going to have a production sale. And he said, my wife was at the Azalea Classic show, and she was at your auction, and she said, you're the guy we need. I'm sitting up there next to Harry Cooper, who's the leading announcer. Okay, I sounded like I knew what I was doing. And now they want me to come do a 2-day horse sale, and it was an Arabian sale. If you know anything about horses, you know Arabians are kind of foo-foo. And they had a band. We were in black tie. It was, having gone to Walter Britton School, Walter Britton was the leading livestock and horse auctioneer in the country, arguably, for decades. And I'd kind of always fantasized about wanting to sell some livestock or horses, and so I'm like, Well, I'd love to come. I'd love to. I'll be there. And it just threw me for a loop.
Was it Live Oak Arabians or was it?
Say it again.
Was it Live Oak Arabians or was it?
No. The guy's name was Dill. I have to think about that for a while. Actually, I have a Dill frame on my wall that I should be able to remember it. Dry Creek. Anyway, the point of the story was the auction went well. I was on cloud nine. A week later, somebody else calls, says, we're ready to have a production sale. We were that sale, we thought it did great, we'd love to have you come sell our sale. I was like, okay. And so for about 2 or 3 years, I started doing Arabian sales. I would have never had the opportunity to break in to purebred horses if I hadn't done that auction for free. Okay? The point, standing on top of the bar there. And so you never can tell when one auction leads to something better. Okay? Happens all the time. So, are you going to have to work for free? Probably going to do some things for free. I don't like doing things for free unless everybody is working for free. The band is going to work for free. The caterer is going to work for cost. You know, if it's some deal like that where we're all pitching in, then I'll pitch in with the best of them. But when you're going to pay everybody else involved with this event, but you want me to work for free and I'm the one getting you the money, I'm not too keen on that. Okay? But that's where you have to sell the value of why you're there. But you'll get that in benefit class, I'm sure. So opportunities are out there, okay? They really are. And you just have to take advantage. It's like when somebody says, if you're ever at an auction, like somebody in your class here has an auction, they say, hey, would you come help me? Yeah, I'll come help you. And they say, hey, get up here and sell some. Oh, no, I don't want to. No. Unless there's something negative going to happen to your reputation for going up there, then you go up there, sell something. Do that. Every chance you get. Every chance you get. If you ever have any question about, somebody talks about, hey, we want you to come, we want you to do a benefit auction. You don't know what to charge, you don't know how to approach them, they want to know if you work for free. What do I say? Call one of your instructors, call me, call Mike, and we'll help you with that, how you should handle that. In this industry, you never stop learning, no matter how long you've been in it. This is my 38th year. Oh, no, actually, in July I'll be 39 in that. We never stop learning. Technology never stops growing, improving. So that just in itself is worth going to continuing education courses, but you're going to have lots of opportunities for that. In Texas, you have to have like 6 hours a year to renew your license in continuing education. Other states require about 6. I think a few are a little bit more than that. Some don't require it at all. But as I mentioned earlier, go try to do it in person if you can. It's always better. Sitting at home, taking over the computer, you're not going to build any relationship with anybody doing that. Yes, sir.
Like being associated with like your state and the National Auction Association, does they normally do something that you would get your 6 hours a year?
Yeah.
That would require...
Well, in Texas, there's several opportunities that the association will offer. You can go to the convention and get all your hours at that time. Then they'll have other seminars, and they'll also offer it online too. So most states are that way. I'm sure Michigan has a pretty big association. I'm sure they have different opportunities that you'll have. Professional designations, you'll get a lot of information on that as well. Certified Auctioneers Institute, that's the premier designation, takes 3, oh, thank you. We've got more time. That CAI takes 3 years to get that designation. That's not going to school for 3 years. It's a 1-week class you
Yeah.
take. And that's actually, it's not even a full week. How long is CAI, Lauren? Is it a full week? Okay.
I can't remember, it's been so long.
Well, it's several days, and it's up in Indiana, and you might go, oh, I can't give a week, Well, I got to tell you, a lot of great information. And I made friends in my CAI class, people that I haven't seen and spoken to probably in 10 years. And if I called them right now and told them I was coming to their town, they'd insist I come stay with them. Point is, you make good friends there. You really do. And it is fun. And there's all kinds of other designations. Some people aren't that keen on them. It's education. Education's always good. Well, most always good. And this is always good, I promise you. All these designations that the National Auctioneers Association offers, you can go to their website, look under the designations. They have specialists for all kinds of things, and you can get those. And does it give you some credibility? Yeah, I think it does give you some credibility, especially if you deal with any government type sales. They love designations. People like attorneys and bankers love designations. So that's worth looking at as well. And then, like I said, Texas has mandatory continuing education. All right, what kind of questions do we have? Yes, sir.
You ever get a call on Arabian horse sale again? You
Oh.
may call me. I was the very first recipient of the Arabian Horse Association's Horseman of the Year award.
No kidding.
George is in the horse.
Really? No, shortly after I got involved in that, the oil money kind of eked out of the business, and the production sales slowed down for a number of years, and I just faded away from it. I had
If you ever
a
get a call again,
I'll
I
give you
know
a
a
call.
guy.
I'll give you a call. And it's and there's so much after lunch. This afternoon at some point we're gonna have a class called Sale Management, or how you determine a commission rate. And we'll talk about this then, but it's very important when you go to talk to anyone about an auction that you know something about what it is you're selling. And if you don't, you get somebody to partner with you that does, and you have them with you. If I had somebody contact me right now and said, hey, we need to sell Grandpa's ranch, and there's 150 head of purebred cattle out there we need to sell. First person I would call is Doak Lambert. I call your daddy, because 1, we're good friends, and 2, he's one of the best cattle auctioneers in the country. And I'd say, hey, Doak, we got this deal. They got a bunch of cattle. We need to go talk to them. When can you go? He'd say, I'd go Tuesday. Okay, I'll make the appointment for Tuesday. And go out there and tell them, basically they're getting 2 auction companies for the price of 1. We're going to do the real estate. Doak's going to do the cattle, etc., that kind of thing. It's very important. Sometimes people assume that you know. I started doing Arabian horse auctions. Actually, the first auction I did, now I'm a senior in college, and I'm at this really nice horse ranch, and the auction's over. The first night's auction is over, and I'm walking through the barn, big, huge barn with a big, huge arena, and here comes a woman dressed very nice. She's got a man behind her leading a horse. And she says, excuse me, would you evaluate my horse? I said, foolishly, I said, sure. And I had taken a horse judging class at a Texas A&M as an elective.
So you got this.
Thank God. Because I knew just enough to say just the right words to sound like I knew what I was talking about, and she was so thankful. And then, she walked off this way, and I walked this way. I was just going, I don't know. It was a little crazy. Now, was that all innocent? Yeah, that was all innocent. She wasn't taking my information and investing money or anything like that. If she had said, I'm thinking about buying this horse, I need you to tell me what you think it's worth, I'd have stopped the train right there, okay? Because if something's going to hurt somebody, get somebody in trouble, that's not good bull. That's not good bull at all. And so sometimes people assume. Now, sometimes we let them make some assumptions. Once again, nobody's going to get hurt. People all the time, we do a lot of certain types of auctions, okay? We do a lot of sound and lighting equipment. So people think, I know how to rig a stage with sound and lighting, and they come to the auction and they go, well, hey, we need to be able to do this, we need to be able to do that, and I'm like, man, I gotta tell you, I sell the stuff, I don't use it. I have no earthly idea what you should buy. I'm sorry. So don't start just making up crazy stuff. But there are, well, anyway, I'm getting off track here. Somebody else had a question? Starting in the business?
Well, so basically what you're saying, if you don't know it, refer them to someone that does?
Well, here's the deal. So a lot of times, people will call and they have something, and I'm trying to think of a good example, that I don't know anything about, okay? And it's 4-hour drive from my office. That's when I may say, and I know somebody who does specialize in that. I'm going to say, listen, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to refer you to an auction company that's better prepared to sell that. And their name is this and this. And I'm going to sing their praises if I know praises about them to sing. I'll tell them about that. And I'm going to send you their contact information. I'm going to email it to you, and I'm going to copy them. So I copy it. I send it to Doak Lambert. Copy Doak. Those people need to sell cattle. I told him you're the man. And then Doak, probably what he'll do is he'll call and say, well, what kind of referral do you want? And I'll say, whatever you think is fair. And then literally, now some people will say, I have a guy in New York that refers me business all the time. He is very specific. He wants this much money, for the referral. Okay, my options are take the referral, send him the money, or don't take the referral. Usually, I take the referral, send him the money he wants. And that's cool. If it's somebody that knows each other, two things are supposed to happen. One, you're supposed to ask them how much they want for the referral. And then they're going to tell you something. And if you're friends, they're probably going to say, whatever you think's fair. See how much money you make first, and then let me know, after that.
A question.
Mm-hmm.
I plan on starting my own auction company.
Mm-hmm.
I already got existing business. Me and my dad been buyers, been all these auction places our whole life. I know we don't have no experience being an auctioneer, but what do you say? I've been I want them to know that I've been around the auction. I understand auction.
I've been in the farm equipment business for 30 years. That's all you got to say. We know farm equipment.
That's good.
We also know auctions.
Is there a
Yeah,
percentage
you went
that's
to school.
usually referred?
No, it varies. It's like saying, is there a commission rate you charge? It varies. So no, it's not. Yeah,
I'll just make a comment based kind of.
we're going to 10 after, in case anybody's wondering.
Some of the thoughts that come to mind, like, I was thinking about the local American Legions and the Eagles. You know, those are places a guy could get in that, like myself, that needs a lot of practice. And I could do some maybe small benefit for an individual, or
Absolutely.
connect with a storage auctioneer that maybe lets you step in and sell a few. Then you got experience,
Yeah,
and you can really have. I've got to have something to, because I'm jumping off into the pit. You know.
Me too.
Yeah,
I had a
well,
guy that went to auction
I can do
school
the-
and would come to all of our auctions.
Yep.
And he'd just stand real close.
Yep.
And anytime we'd go, somebody pull the extension cord, he'd run over there and fix it for us. And can somebody grab the other side of it? He'd run over. He was Johnny on the spot.
Yeah.
And then we got to know him. And then he said, anytime you need help, we'd love to help you. I said, well, we'd love to try you out as a ringman. We started him out as a ringman, then he became a backup auctioneer. And so, yeah, that's,
Cake sales at a church, you just tell them, hey, I'll auction them.
you can't screw up a cake sale, too. You really
Anything
can't.
you can do.
You really can't. And so that's a great thing to do. I've done a lot of cake sales.
Yeah.
And yet, yes,
On a cake sale, how did you describe the icing?
no, there's some things that you don't.
Delicious.
There's some things that describe itself, okay? They come up there, and you go, that's the best looking German chocolate cake I've ever seen. Let's
The
go.
maker.
You don't need to talk about that. It's obvious. It's a John Deere riding lawnmower. There's not really anything else to say. It runs. Maybe they want to know that, but other than that, it's John Deere.
Talk about grandma
Hmm?
Yeah.
Fat-free?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Is there-
Yeah, well, you can say that. It's a good tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
This is the low-calorie model. Everybody, ha, ha, ha.
Is there anything
Keto
that you
friendly.
need to sell land more than, if I'm an auctioneer, say I get a farm auction and he wants me to sell his land, is there something else that I need?
Yes, there is, and we're going to talk about that this afternoon when we talk about real estate auctions. Remind me, we'll talk about that then.
Okay, so here's the plan.
Here's the plan.
Ready? Okay, I'm gonna let you go in 1 minute, and I need you to go get ready, for those of you that need to do something, to get ready for the picture. It's 12:10. I need you back down here around by 12:30.
Okay.
I'm going to lay a sheet at each of your seats. It's the payment form for the pictures. He does cash or check. Okay? You don't have to pay me. Those of you that can, when you get back and want to before lunch, that's fine. If you need to pay after lunch, that's fine. Okay? I'll just need you to put your name on this sheet and hand me, or lay your money back there.
Lori, I have a
Yes.
question. Do we also receive it digitally, I hope, so we can add it to our website?
They're printed out. We don't usually send them digitally. You can probably have it
Scheme.
scanned.
Are they
Use it that way.
are we gonna have the picture when we go home?
It'll be in your packet Friday.
Perfect.
Oh gosh, okay. And the photogs, there's two, because the one that's been doing it for us is retiring, so he's showing the other guy what we do. They're right out here. The individual photos will be right there where the backdrop is. So as you walk through, just be aware they may have some equipment set up. Then we will do those, and then we will go out under the awning, do the group photo, and then you get to go to lunch.